Bought the new Boss XS1 poly shifter pedal. I already own the Digitech drop pedal. I've also had the Electro Harmonics pitchfork, which I liked. I just preferred the drop. If you guys don't know what these are, they're pedals that let you drop tune the guitar. So if your guitar's in standard, this Paul Reed Smith CE24 bolt-on semi-hollow is standard tuned right now in standard tuning. So E to E. You can drop immediately to a half step down, a full step down, go all the way to baritone, go all the way to bass guitar, and just instantly tune your guitar. There are some downfalls to these. There's a little bit of a tracking lag that some people don't like. I think Boss's is actually tracking faster than the Digitech, which is pretty good. The other thing is if you play really quiet at night, if you hear the original note on your guitar, there's a little bit of a warble in your head, or there's a it sounds almost like an octave pedal where there's a note, below. So it's not pleasing. So you need to play loud enough to where you don't hear your own guitar strings. You don't have to play loud. Just obviously you're not going to be playing like super, super quiet at night. In a gigging format, it won't matter. And that's essentially what these are for. You wouldn't necessarily use it for recording, although a lot of people do use them, and more importantly, use them for the bass thing to just put down a bass line. I'm going to show you all of that. Something I got to tell you, a win to the Boss pedal is that when you step on it, I like how it's just got the typical Boss plunger and the light up top to let you know the effects on. One of the things I don't like about the drop tune is that when you step on the plunger, the light is underneath your foot, so you have to lift off. And sometimes I get confused because there's an LED up here that's on. I think that means the pedal's on. What's nice about that feature, though, is it lets you know where you are. So obviously with the Boss, you have a rotary knob, so wherever you select it, where the Digitech, you actually know by looking down. I don't know if there's a clear winner there. I think everybody's going to have a different kind of like takeaway on that. My takeaway is I prefer the Boss. The other thing the Boss has is it has a stereo cable option you can plug in and add an expression pedal and make it like a whammy pedal. You don't have to program it. You don't have to do anything. Just plug it in. This is just a hot one with a stereo cable. I'll demo it for you. You can make it like a Digitech whammy pedal. The biggest advantage to the Boss, so you know, is that it's $199. So it's about $50 to $30 cheaper than the drop, given that the drop's $250, but sometimes on sale. The one advantage to the drop, it comes with a power supply, although both run on a 9-volt power supply, so it's not like a big deal. Let's start with the clean tone. I feel like the Boss just has more definition, but the Boss always adds more low frequency, so keep that in mind. We'll switch to overdrive and then we'll play around for a second. Let's switch to an overdrive sound, and I'll play them with a little bit of drums and we'll see how it all sounds. One thing I've learned with all these drop tune pedals is that if you want them, when they turn them on, they kind of suck up some of the energy that's going to the amp. So sometimes you want to run a clean boost. I'm running this as a clean boost. I want to show you the same thing, but just with a little bit of boost, and see how you get more of the attack back out of your guitar when you're detuning. So let's start there. Here we go. So you can see they both sound really good. I like I said, there's things to love and not love about each one. I like that the poly shifter to me sounds cleaner, more accurate, quicker, tracks quicker. However, I don't really like the low end frequency it keeps adding to the sound versus the drop. So just something to think about. What I want to do now is I'm going to switch back to clean on the amp and play some a down tune to an octave below to give you like kind of a bass setting. So let's do that. Same thing. We're going to see how this sounds as a bass guitar. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to play a little bit on the guitar, and then I'll play each one to see when I'm talking about how fast they track. And again, that just shows, each one has a different tracking, I don't know, I want to say speed. Let's show you a feature that only exists on the Boss. We'll show the expression pedal. It's pretty cool. Poly Shifter XS1 and the Drop by Digitech. I prefer the Boss. I think the negatives with the Boss, which so far the only real negative I have is that it, like I said, adds a little bit more low end frequency. I just don't know why it's doing that. And it's not a lot. It's just all of a sudden, it just pushes. I don't notice it so much in the amplifier so much as I do when recording it. So just to be something aware of. Other than that, they are both very good. If I can only have one, I think I'm sticking with the Poly Shifter, just because it's not a pedal I use a lot, and so I just like the Boss one and some of the features, and especially having that kind of expression pedal option is pretty cool. That's it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this fun little look at my new pedals, and as always, thank you guys so much for your time. Till next time, know your gear.